Hello, my name is Trev. I am the Geekologist and welcome to the Geekology channel. Today we're going to talk to you about the wonders of vinyl. Vinyl collection, why vinyl, particularly in these days of online streaming. As you know, I am very much a fan of digital technology and it has taken audio sound quality into a whole new region. The sounds tend to be fairly perfect. Vinyl is considered by many to be yesteryear's technology, but yesterday's technology is refusing to go away. We'll look into some of the reasons behind that and some of the reasons why yours truly has a vinyl collection of sorts. If you look behind me, you can see a collection of LP records. I picked these up from a record shop in my local town and they were 20p each. Now there's many reasons why I would have done this. Obviously it's difficult to resist a bargain, isn't it? All of these were handpicked by me. I picked out 40 and I paid £8 for them. Which is what, about €14, $16, something like that. Everything from Neil Diamond to Chopin and some original artists and some not so original artists, some comedy, some classical. Tony Hancock there. Some that you just wouldn't find anywhere. And in terms of online streaming, yes, you'll be able to find several of these on online streaming, but here we have the physical manifestation of what is on your online streaming, and we have a little bit of local history. Gavin and Ned or Nell written up there, and what's this yellow sticker for? You know, just look at that. You physically get to hold this and smell it as well. So having said that, there is a physical thing about having vinyl and all this artwork is here, all this nostalgia is here, and there is also a tangible effort reward played out in getting hold of old albums that have not been very well looked after and seeing what you can do to restore them back to greatness. Now, we have this one for Bucks Fizz, and Cheryl's had a little bit of a Hitler moustache, I think, drawn on her, so somebody didn't like this record at some point. And talking of not liking the record, let's have a look at the state of it. Now it's always difficult to see what the record looks like. You've got to get it up into exactly the right light. But I'm hoping that you can see that that looks quite grubby. And what I propose to do is take this downstairs, put it on in the state it is, and have a listen to 10 seconds or so of it, and then I'll come back upstairs and give it a rather drastic clean. We'll have a listen to it then. So this is Bucks Fizz Greatest Hits. I run the Eurovision Song Contest 1981 with Making Your Mind Up, which got to #1, and then produced a string of hits through to 1984. The lights have got better downstairs, so I'm going to have a look and see if I can find any actual surface scratches on it. I can't see any surface scratches on it. This particular album, if we can get it in the right light, it says they're not for sale, demonstration. Certainly it's been demoed a lot, hasn't it? You'll first look at one of my latest purchases, the Rega P6, which replaced the Rega Planar 2. I had the Rega Planar 2 since the age of 17, which was 1984, and it remained faithfully working right up until the day I sold it for £200. This is the replacement, which I bought on Facebook Marketplace from a guy in Weston. This is the RP6 from Rega. It has the flagship moving magnet cartridge. The stylus isn't replaceable on that. The moving magnet itself costs £299, and to replace it I would have to send it back to have it factory refurbed, and I believe that would cost me £200 alone for the cartridge. The RP6 normally retails at £1,150. I managed to get it all from Facebook Marketplace for £500, including the separate power supply and the phono preamp. The RP6 has also been fitted with a set of very thick LIN cables, so it has been slightly customized in that respect. Let's see if we can have a proper look at the record condition. Now I've got it in some natural light, particularly having a look for any deep scratches. Yes, as per usual, you're not going to be able to see what I can see. Still not noticing any major scratches here. Could be the amount of surface dirt on here is such that I just can't see. Or, you know, I could be in luck and, you know, there's not much other than some light surface scratches. There's 3 deep scratches across that one, yeah, and there's a scratch that goes from track 2 to the end there, yeah. Well, I think there's plenty of dodginess around. I mean, I shudder to put this on the deck, but I'm going to. We're now going to hear a binaural representation of this track in all its inherent ugliness. I haven't heard this before, and I have very small hopes of this sounding pristine. But remember, this is just the start of a journey. Right, that's enough of that. It didn't sound as bad as I thought it was going to. There doesn't sound to be too much in the way of deep scratches, but we're going to give it some really drastic treatment now, and we're going to try and see if we can improve that sound and certainly get rid of some of that dirt, because the stylus will pick up all that dirt and it will just build up loads and loads of junk on the stylus, if nothing else. And I think that at least we can make the record cleaner, and hopefully it will sound cleaner as well. But I was quite pleased with that. That wasn't as crackly as I thought it would be. Now here comes the effort reward part of gratification that human beings yearn for, and is all part of that feel-good factor about life. Now, you've picked up a bargain, you've tried it on the turntable, it didn't sound as bad as I thought initially it would sound. This is side one. Again, I really don't think you can get an idea as to how bad it is, but it's mucky basically, it's covered in grime. Before I give this a dip and show you what I'm going to do with it, there are many kits out there, amongst which I have tried, that are reasonably good. This is a drastic way to clean your vinyl, and please, if you do go this way of doing it, I will not be sued. This is not advice, this is the way I do it for myself, and this is what works for me. It is very drastic and it looks quite brutal the way that I treat vinyl, but this, having tried lots of other methods, is the way that works for me, certainly for restoring old vinyl. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get some hand soap to start with, put that on one hand, and put this in a bowl of warm water that's already got a little bit of soap in it, and as you can see I've completely covered that. I'm now going to swirl round a handful of hand soap, and I'm going to swirl it in both directions in a circular motion so it gets into as much of the grooves, because remember these are micro grooves, as possible. And I'm going to go, yes, I'm going to go right over the inner label. I'm not going to protect that because I think the rewards are worth the risks of getting that slightly wet. And vinyl is a lot tougher than people think. It's surprising how much abuse it can take. Then I'm going to actually wash it. And I'm going to do exactly the same for side 2 now. See that it clumps a little bit to start with. This is just any old soap, it's not, you know, it's just liquid soap. It's not particularly expensive stuff. It's not specifically proportioned for vinyl use, for sure. Drastic, isn't it? That will have cleaned it. But you're going to say, yeah, but what damage have you done to the actual grooves? You know, these are micro grooves, so, you know, the thinnest of needles, almost invisible to the human eye, is actually going into these grooves. And the grooves on an LP record are thinner than the grooves on a 12-inch single or a 45. So much dirt can accumulate over the years. If this is 1983, then this is a 40-year-old record that probably hasn't been cleaned much in 40 years. I've got rid of most of the soap on that. And now we go to the next phase, the drying. And here is how I dry it. And again, this is my method. If you damage your records in the process, that is your prerogative. I'm putting a reasonable pressure on it. I'm moving this dishcloth, which is just a standard drying up towel, but by its very nature, something like that tends to be quite clean. See, the inner label hasn't been destroyed. And what we need to do now, of course, is take it back downstairs. And I'll show you the final touches I do to it, because we're not finished there yet before I put it back on the record deck. As I say, a brutal, self-confessed brutal way of cleaning. I've got a few more things to do yet, so I'm just going to try and wipe any excess dust particles off with a lint cloth. If you take care of a vinyl record, it will last you a lifetime. This one hasn't been particularly well loved, but even when I put it on dirty, it still sounded reasonable to me. The sound of a vinyl record is different from a CD or streaming. I'm not saying it's better and I'm not saying it's worse, I'm just saying it's different. It's a more laid back sound in my opinion. And the RP6 with the moving magnet cartridge as well So I've got here what's called a dust buster, and that's just some special gel, and you put the stylus in it very carefully. So you just rest the stylus in it for a second or two and then take it out. I'm going to clean the stylus. And you probably see there's some dust particles that have gone on it. I'm going to use an anti-static brush just in case I've missed anything. And I'm now going to put back on my binaural in-ear mics, and at the same volume we're going to have a listen and see if we can tell any difference to the sound. Here goes for the moment of truth. Have I destroyed this LP or have I made it sound better? Headphones on now, folks. Okay, well, I'm really pleased with the results. Obviously you will have heard scratches in there. Obviously once a scratch goes onto the surface of a vinyl record, it's going to stay there forever. There's no real way of restoring that. What I'm trying to do is to get rid of any excess surface noise that's been caused by the accumulation of dirt on the LP, stop the stylus from deteriorating more than it should because it's picking up loads of rubbish on the surface of the LP. That was well listenable. The jury is out there as to whether that is a better sound than the crystal clear sound of CDs, streaming, or your digital FLAC files, but you will agree with me that it is different. The dynamic range on an LP is quite a bit less than what the CD medium is capable of. But does that make it sound worse or better? Because it will appeal to the nostalgists amongst us. By no means was that a perfect representation of that track, but it was a trip back to yesteryear, was it not? And the thing about vinyl, when listened to, forces one to switch on the turntable, the power supply, the preamp, the amplifier, get your records out, have a look at them whilst you're playing the LP, and really sit down and listen properly to your music. And in that way, I think that very subtly what we've done is we've created an environment where we're going to actually be listening to our music less as background and as more of a serious listen. And that may well be ultimately what keeps vinyl going. There are other formats that I'm going to talk to you about in the future that are still there, including the cassette tape format, of which I've got an amazing quantity of cassettes that I'm only too eager to show you. But that was Bucks' greatest hits. and even the sleeve won't stay like that for long. I'll clean any possible cigarette nicotine stains off of it and give it a general clean up, but I'm going to sit back and have a listen to that now and leave you to ponder on whether there is life in the vinyl format in this digital age that we live in. So from me and a 40-year-old copy of Bucks Fizz Greatest Hits, thank you very much for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day, whatever you're doing, and enjoy your music above all else.